Good morning, class 10th. We have started chapter number 4, quadratic equations. We have discussed the method to solve a quadratic equation in two ways. The first one is by factorization and the second one is using the quadratic formula. There is another method which is the method of completing the squares, which is not in our syllabus. We are doing exercise 4.3, page number 87-88 in your textbook. We have done question number 2 and question number 3 of this exercise. Question number 1 is not in our syllabus. Now we are going to do the statement sums from this exercise. There are 8 statement questions in the exercise. I'm going to divide these into 3 parts. So this video will be divided into 3 parts. This is the first part of the video. Question number 4th. Let's take a look. The sum of the reciprocals of Rahman's ages in years 3 years ago and 5 years from now is 1/3. Find his present age. So there is a relation given between Rahman's past age and future age. You have to find his present age. So that is what we start with. So we will start with what we need to find out. Let Rahman's present age be X years. They are referring to his age 3 years ago and 5 years from now. So his age 3 years ago means we are going in the past. So 3 years ago his age would be X minus 3 years. And his age 5 years from now, this is future age, so we will add 5 years to his age. According to question, the sum of the reciprocals of these two ages is 1/3. So you need the reciprocal for the past age and you need the reciprocal for the future age. Adding the two reciprocals, the answer is 1/3. So I'm just going to write down, this is not required though, reciprocal of past age plus the reciprocal of future age. So these two will be added together and the answer is given as 1/3. So his past age is X minus 3. Reciprocal means multiplicative inverse. So X minus 3 reciprocal, it will be 1/X minus 3. The reciprocal of X plus 5 will be 1/X plus 5. The answer for this sum is 1/3. So this is the equation that you have. From here, before we actually find the values of X, there are two things which we need to write down, that X cannot be equal to 3 and X cannot be equal to minus 5. Again, if you refer to question number 3, you would know why I have written this. If X is 3, this denominator becomes 0, which cannot happen. And if X equals to minus 5, then this denominator becomes equal to 0. This can also not happen. So this is something we want to write down here before we actually start solving this. And to solve this, we will be working like we worked in question number 3. Take the LCM on this side. LCM will be equal to the product of denominators, X minus 3, X plus 5. For the numerators, we cross multiply. So 1 multiplied by X plus 5 plus 1 multiplied by X minus 3. On right hand side, we have 1/3. Simplify the side completely and then cross multiply. Opening the brackets, multiplying in the multiplying in the denominator. Once you have simplified both the sides, then you will cross multiply. In the numerator we have 2x plus 2 over x square plus 2x minus 15 in the denominator equals to 1/3. No more simplification is possible. I'm going to cross multiply. So 1 into this expression simplify this and express the standard form. Express the quadratic equation in the standard form. This will be 6x plus 6 equals to x square plus 2x minus 15, x square plus 2x minus 6x minus 15 minus 6. So I've transposed these two terms to right hand side. So my equation becomes x square minus 4x minus 21 equals to 0. At this step, once you have obtained the quadratic equation in the simplified form, it is up to you how you want to solve this. Now you have two methods and you can use any of the two. You can use the quadratic formula or you can do the factorization. For this I am able to think of the factors very easily. I'm going with factorization. Otherwise you can always use the quadratic formula to obtain the answer directly. Splitting the middle term, pairing up first and second, third and fourth term, writing the common factors from the two pairs, and now we have the two linear factors as x minus 7 and x plus 3 equals to 0. We will take each of these linear factors equal to 0 and obtain x. So I get x minus 7 equals to 0 and x plus 3 equals to 0. So one of these two answers will be possible. If x minus 7 is equal to 0, from here x will be equal to 7 and on this side x will be equal to minus 3. Now which value do you think is right? This is correct. This is rejected because x represents age and the answer for the age cannot be negative. So if x is equal to 7, we can write down that Rahman's present age is 7 years. Let us take a look at the next question. Question number 5. In a class test, the sum of Shefali's marks in mathematics and English is 30. Had she got 2 marks more in mathematics and 3 marks less in English, the product of their marks would have been 210. Find her marks in the two subjects. So there are two statements given about her marks in math and English. We will use one statement to assume the values and the second one to make the quadratic equation. To assume the values, I am picking the first sentence, the sum of the marks in mathematics and English. So if I just write it roughly, maths and English, the total is 30. Let's represent one of these by x. Let's take the marks in maths as x. So from here, the marks in English will come out to be 30 minus x. So this is how we are going to assume. So let Shefali's marks in math be x. Therefore, because the total is 30, so we are not letting this, therefore her marks in English will be the total score minus the marks in math. Now they are saying that if she had scored differently, so there are new scores or new marks given. If she had a different score than these in math, if she had scored 2 marks more, so 2 marks more from x, and in English earlier she scored 30 minus x, they are saying if she had scored 3 marks less, so subtracting 3 from this will be 27 minus x. Once again, You have been given that her total score in English and math marks is 30. If we take the marks in math as x, her marks in English will be 30 minus x. This is her score as such. X 30 minus x. They are talking about the scores being different. If she had 2 marks more in math and 3 marks less in English, then what happens? The product of these two new scores is 210. According to question, the product of these new marks is 210. So this condition will be used to form the quadratic equation. Let's simplify. So I have simplified left hand side. Now I'm transposing 210 to left hand side. This will be minus x square plus 25x minus 156 equals to 0. Let's take negative common. X square minus 25x plus 156 equals to 0. So this is the simplified form for my quadratic equation. Again, it's up to you which way you want to find out the value of x. If you want to use factorization or if you want to use quadratic formula. I'm going with factorization, splitting the middle term. After you have split the middle term, it's time to pair up first, second together, third and fourth terms together, taking common factor from first and the second term and taking factors common from third and fourth term. From here the two linear factors come out to be x minus 13 and x minus 12. We will take each of these factors equal to 0 and obtain the answer for x. There are two possibilities, either the first factor is 0 or the second factor is 0. If x minus 13 is 0, x equals to 13. From the other factor, the value of x is 12. So if x is 13, what will be the answer? So math score, this was represented by x, this is 13, and English score, this was represented by 30 minus x. Using this value of x, these are her scores in math and English. If the value of x is 12, then what is the answer? Math score, which was represented by x, is 12, and English score, which was represented by 30 minus x. This will be 30 minus 12, which is 18. In either case, you can verify that if you increase math marks by 2 and decrease English score by 3, the product is 210. So here maths minus 2, this is 11. In English, sorry, in maths plus 2, this will be 15. In English, we have to decrease 3, this will be 14. So if I multiply 14 and 15, the answer is 210. Same way on this side, if we increase the math score by 2 and decrease the English score by 3, we get 14 into 15, which is 210. So both answers are possible. No value is rejected in this question. Now let us look at question number 6. The diagonal of a rectangular field is 60 meters more than the shorter side. If the longer side is 30 meters more than the shorter side, find the sides of the field. Now we know that in a rectangle, the longer side is referred to as the length, the shorter side is referred to as the breadth. they have given a relation between the longer side, the shorter side, and a relation between the diagonal and the shorter side. Using these relations, we can assume the values for these three. We can start by assuming the shorter side, then we can write the value for the longer side and the diagonal. But to make a quadratic equation, there is no condition given. So what we are going to do for that is, we will consider the fact that we are talking about the sides and the diagonal of a rectangle. In a rectangle, each angle is 90 degree. So if this is the shorter side and we represent this side by x, the shorter side, the longer side is 30 meters more than this. So this is the longer side, which is 30 meters longer than x. So this will be x plus 30. And the diagonal is 60 meters longer than the shorter side. So the diagonal is x plus 60. And it does not matter which diagonal you take, because in a rectangle both diagonals are equal. So you could have drawn this or this diagonal, the length would be same. So we will be considering this triangle. This is a right angled triangle. To form a quadratic equation, we will be using this condition, that these are the sides of a right angled triangle, hence they will satisfy the Pythagoras theorem. Let's write down. So we start by assuming the shorter side as x. The units are meters. Therefore, the longer side is x plus 30 meters. And the diagonal will be x plus 60 meters. Using Pythagoras theorem, if you want, you can name the triangle just for reference. So using Pythagoras theorem in triangle ABC, we get hypotenuse square equals to perpendicular square plus the base square. Now you have to simplify this and obtain the quadratic equation, hence find the value of x. Simplifying, we get x square plus, this is a plus b whole square, so apply the identity carefully. A square plus b square, 60 square is 3600, plus 2ab will be 120x. On right hand side we have x square plus expanding x plus 30 whole square, x square plus 30 square 900, 2ab, that will be 60x. Solving these, let's transpose all terms to one side, and side by side I will simplify. So this is 2x square plus 900 plus 60x, taking these to right hand side, minus x square minus 3600 minus 120x. From here my quadratic equation comes out to be x square minus 60x, the terms with x, the constants give me minus 2700 equals to 0. So this is the quadratic equation. Let's factorize it or apply quadratic formula and find out x. So the quadratic equation that I have obtained is x square minus 60x minus 2700 equals to 0. I'm going to apply the quadratic formula here. To apply the quadratic formula, I need to compare my equation with the standard form. So ax square plus bx plus c, this is the standard form. So from here the values of the coefficients can be noted down before I apply my quadratic formula. And once I've done this, this is the first step. From here I'm going to obtain the discriminant, which is equal to b square minus 4ac. Let's use the values. Be careful with the simplification. This is 3600 plus 10,800. So this becomes 14,400. This is the value of the discriminant. Now we have to find out the roots. Roots actually are the value of the variable. So the variable used here is x. So I'll be obtaining the value of x here. These will be given by minus b plus minus under the root d whole divided by 2a. Let's substitute the values. Minus of minus 60, this minus b itself is minus 60, plus minus square root of 14,400. In the denominator we have to multiply it with 1. This will be 60 plus minus square root of this will be 120. In the denominator I have 2. Now I will separate the two factors from here, two roots from here, taking ones with addition and ones with subtraction. So this is 180 by 2, which is 90, and this is minus 60 by 2. This will be minus 30. These are the values of x that we have obtained using the quadratic formula. But out of these two values, this value, the second value, is not possible because x represents the length of the side and length cannot be negative. So this value will be rejected because length cannot be negative. So the only value possible for x is 90. From here you can give the answer. Length, which was represented by x plus 30, the longer side. This will be 90 plus 30 equals to 120 meters, and the breadth, the shorter side, represented by x is 90 meters. The next question that we have is question number 7th. The difference of squares of two numbers is 180. The square of the smaller number is 8 times the larger number. Find the two numbers. This is an important question. We have been given a relation between two numbers, and they are referring to the numbers as the smaller number and the larger number. So we will assume the same way. Now, you could assume the values using one variable directly, but just for this question I'm going to use two variables in the beginning and then make sure that the quadratic equation contains only one variable. So let us say the numbers are x and y, and x is greater than y. So when I say this means x is larger and y is the smaller number, because the statement actually refers to the numbers as larger and smaller. Now there are two things given. The first one, difference of squares. If you take the squares of x and y and you write the difference is 180. Along with this, we have been given, this is the first condition that we have. The second condition given to us is the square of the smaller number is 8 times the larger number. Square of smaller number is 8 times the larger number. So if we use these two relations, let us see what we get. The difference of squares. When you want to write down the difference, you have to write down the difference as larger value minus the smaller value. So be careful. The larger value here is x, the smaller is y, and we need their squares. So this will be x square minus y square equals to 180. And from this relation, square of the smaller number, y is the smaller number, its square is 8 times the larger number. 8 into x. On this side there is no square. Now I will use this value of y square in this equation. Y square is 8x, and when I replace the value of y square, I have an equation just in one variable. X square minus 8x minus 180 equals to 0. For yourself, you can note down this is the quadratic equation in one variable. You will be solving this to find out x. With the help of x, we will obtain y, because we have to find out both the numbers. Let's find out x first. I'm going to split the middle term. X square minus 10x minus 18x plus 10x minus 180 equals to 0. Pairing up and writing the factors common for the pairs. So the linear factors obtained are x minus 18 and x plus 10 equals to 0. From here, there are two possibilities. Either the first linear factor is equal to 0. From here, the value of x is 18, or x plus 10 equals to 0. This will be x equals to minus 10. Now, because we are talking about the numbers, we cannot reject any of these. Both values are possible for the time being. So x could be a positive number, x could be a negative number. Let us see, using these, what will be the second number. So if this is the first number, this will be 18. For second number, use this relation. If first number, which is represented by x, is 18, for the second number we are going to use this relation. From here we are going to find out y. So y square is 8x. This means y square equals to 8 multiplied by 18. Y comes out to be 144. Y square comes out to be 144. So y will be equal to square root of 144, either positive or negative. Whenever we calculate the square root, we consider both possibilities. The square root could be positive or it could be negative. So from here, there are two possibilities. Y can be plus 12 or minus 12. So the first number is 18, but the second one could be positive 12 or negative 12. Let's look at the second answer that we obtained. From here, the first number will be minus 10. For second number, we are again going to use this relation. Y square equals to 8x. So y square equals to 8 multiplied by minus 80. So y square is minus 80. Y will be equal to square root of minus 80. Now this is not possible, so this answer will be rejected. This is not possible in real number system. Because we are studying real numbers, this is not possible. Square root of a negative number cannot be calculated. So this answer will be rejected. So this is the only answer possible. The first number has to be 18 and the second number could either be plus 12 or minus 12. So if you had to write down the answer, this is how you're going to write down. The numbers are, the first number will be 18. The second number could be plus 12 or minus 12. So the pair will either be 18 and 12 or the pair will be 18 and minus 12.